Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. On the agenda tonight is going to be an interesting one. We're going to be taking a look at Miley Cyrus from 2012 and she's going to be performing one of her godmother's tracks, Jolene. And this must be linked to Dolly Parton because that's her godmother, and I have done a video on Dolly on this channel somewhere, so check out that if you get a chance. But also her dad, Billy Ray Cyrus, who had a hit here in the UK with Achy Breaky Heart. And we don't get a lot of country music in our charts here, so that was one of those tracks that managed to break through. But let's get Miley up on screen and see how she gets on.
Jolene, 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 Jolene. Oh, I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take him even though you can. Your beauty is beyond compare, with flaming locks of auburn hair, with ivory skin and eyes of emerald green. Your smile is like a breath of spring, your skin is soft like summer rain, and I cannot compete with you, Jolene. And I could easily understand how you could easily take my man, but you don't know what he means to me, Jolene. And he talks about you in his sleep. There's nothing I can do to keep from crying when he calls your name, Jolene. Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take him even though you can.
I'm just going to jump in here because, like I say, I always get to all the suggestions and the requests on my list, and Miley Cyrus is one of those that if you didn't know her beforehand, I'm sure everybody's heard of Miley Cyrus and seen videos of her on TV doing things, sticking her tongue out and getting a lot of attention. But if you didn't know her before watching this performance, you'd say it's a great rendition. It is a great rendition of Jolene, and a great sound to her voice in terms of covering Dolly Parton, whether she's your godmother or not, is such a steep task. It's an uphill struggle because people are always going to compare it to that timeless vocal, the unique vocal quality that Dolly Parton has. But Miley Cyrus has such a similar delivery, and the control of her voice is spot on as well, with the trills, the way that she ends the vocal phrases. And something that I have mentioned recently on this channel about auto-tune, there's no auto-tune on this particular vocal that we're listening to, but I am going to be addressing the elephant in the room. In a minute, all of the producers watching will know what I'm talking about. But just about this performance, a great setup. We've got two acoustic guitars, that upright bass, keys. We've got backing vocals that come in as well. And there's so much here with the dynamic expression as well on the drums using those brushes. And it's a great sound. It is a studio quality sounding track. This video is from something called the Backyard Sessions, and I had a little bit of a look into it because I thought maybe it was a show that I haven't heard of before, where they have bands on and they perform in the backyard and they record it and then post it to YouTube. But unfortunately, I couldn't find any other videos to compare this with, and then I realized it was just a Miley Cyrus thing, just a couple of videos that she did that she called the Backyard Sessions. And it's really well done. When I mention about the sound being studio quality, this is where people might think that this is a live sound that we're hearing from this very performance. But the producers in the audience watching this video, and if you've seen this video of Miley Cyrus's before, they'll know about the difficulties of recording live outside. and there's something called the wind, and we can see it in the background here. The leaves are blowing, it's blustering a little bit, and we've got no windshields here. We've got nothing on the microphones that's going to stop the wind from affecting the microphone. And straight away, when you do listen to this, especially if you listen in headphones, due to my background in production, having had over 15 years experience, you can tell when something has been produced in the studio and when something is live outside because of the ambiance that you get when you do record outside. There's no auto-tune, so this is Miley Cyrus's voice, and I love to hear somebody just singing into a microphone without it being auto-tuned and have that nasty auto-tune effect sound to the voice. So you get to hear all those little nuances in her voice, the trills that she throws in there. Of course, it's not what we're seeing in terms of the video, but when she recorded it in the studio with a mic, it was all just her voice and it hasn't been tampered with. The other thing I think with this video is that most people reading the backyard sessions might assume that it's a live video and a live performance, and it's very clever. Like I said, it's really well done, this video. There is a little bit in the intro that gives it away, and being a guitar teacher and having played for so long, I can tell you that the acoustic guitarist who's playing the intro misses the pull-off. He's just playing a straight A minor, and what we're hearing is a pull-off on that B string. He's pulling from C down to B, and he doesn't do that on the guitar, so you can tell that the audio isn't what we're hearing from this performance that we're looking at. Getting into this, we've got the condenser mic that the keyboard player is singing into. We've got another condenser mic that is just in the middle of that upright bass and the guitar and that second rhythm guitar. We've also got another condenser mic which is just by the drum kit, picking that up, and then we've got Miley's vocal mic as well. So all of these condenser mics that are set up exactly the same as this. This is a condenser mic. So just as a little bit of an example, I'm going to really lightly blow into this mic so you can hear why some producers never work outside, because it is a needless headache and there are so many things can go wrong, let alone the birds in the trees not realizing that you're recording a song and staying quiet for that full 3-minute performance. They're going to sing. They don't care. If there are planes overhead, they don't care that you're doing a live recording. I'm going to do it really lightly just to give you guys an example. So I don't know whether you could hear that. I can't hear it coming back at me because all the audio is going into the computer, but you might have been able to hear a slight change in the sound so that between the singing and the instruments playing, you would get this sound coming through the mic with every gust of wind that happens. And it is so noticeable. Like I said, some producers will never work outside because it's such a headache. You could be having a perfect take vocally and instrumentally, and then a gust of wind hits the mic and it's game over. The only way to counteract this is to have a windshield on your microphones, and there are no windshields here in this particular performance, but when you watch nature documentaries, one type of windshield looks like a really furry animal on the end of the microphone because there's so much fur around it in order to try and break up that wind so it doesn't strike the important part of the microphone. And you have seen this maybe in TV, maybe on the end of a boom being held up above people who are talking, and that is just to stop any wind from affecting that microphone. Or, more commonly, you would have seen a foam protection on the end of, say, for example, an SM58, where the end of the mic just looks bigger because it's got that foam protection on it in order to break down as much wind or air from hitting that mic as possible so you get a cleaner vocal sound. Another thing you will notice if you're listening to this through headphones, which I did just to hear the separation and what they're done with the track because it is really well produced. In the intro, the guitar is just off center to the left in the stereo field, and as soon as all the other instruments come in, it gets panned hard left, so that input is now moved over to the side just to leave more space for the lead vocal and the other instruments. So it's something that you would do in a studio with post-production and mixing, just to move an instrument out the way when you want the lead vocal to be the focus. The only reason that I mention all this is because I know that people will be watching who are producers and will be wanting me just to point out these details, and also it helps to educate people about how recording works and how recording outside is such a nightmare because of the elements. But also, I think maybe some people have wrongly assumed that we're listening to a live performance just because of the name of the video, the Backyard Sessions. I did watch the other performance from the Backyard Sessions, and there are two videos from 2012 on Miley Cyrus's channel, and that other performance is really well produced, again, really nicely mixed. The thing that will give away a performance, especially like the other video, is bleed on the microphone, and that is when somebody's playing, say for example, an acoustic guitar right by the singer, which they were in that video. There were two acoustic guitars. You will hear those acoustic guitars on the vocal mic. There's no way you can stop that. It's bleed. It will always happen. And there are things you can do in terms of putting a noise gate on the microphone, which means that any other sound, if it doesn't go past a particular threshold of volume, you won't hear it. But as soon as somebody starts singing, you will hear that guitar on that microphone. Whereas in that performance, there's no bleed whatsoever when Miley is singing. You only hear her voice as a standalone instrument, and then the guitars are standalone instruments as well. Like I said, really well mixed. But if it was a live performance, you cannot avoid those guitars bleeding on to that lead vocal microphone. Looking at this in super detail, I have got reference speakers here, and I have listened to this through headphones as well. There is a tiny section at 1 minute and 29 where we get a double track of Miley's vocal, which might have been from a previous take that is just underneath the main vocal. It's only a split second for when she says Jolene, but when you listen to it through reference speakers, you can just hear that previous take that is still in the mix. So it's one of those things that accidentally didn't get taken out and made it onto this final audio. Whether it be studio or live, it's not auto-tuned, so we are hearing Miley Cyrus's voice and how she sang it, her own interpretation of Jolene. I think this is a great version, and as a standalone version to go and buy, obviously the record label are going to release this as a fully mixed, fully mastered, fully produced track for people then to buy. But even in that standing, it still stands up. Because of those family ties, I guess, to the country side of things, Miley's got that natural twang of country in her voice, so she can do such a great version of this particular track. But let's get back into the video and just watch it till the end.
Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take him even though you can. Had to have this talk with you. My happiness depends on you, whatever you decide to do, Jolene. And you could have your choice of men, but I can never love again, 'cause he's the only one for me, Jolene. Jolene, 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 Jolene. Oh, I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take him even though you can. Jolene, Jolene.
And there we have it. You can't deny that Miley Cyrus vocally has such a unique tone to her voice, but has control of that voice as well. She's got the ability to throw trills together really quickly, especially when you're singing country music. A lot of the top artists had the ability to do that, especially Dolly Parton. She could throw together one hell of a trill if she wanted to, but also getting that connection with the lyrics and getting an audience engaged in the song that you're singing. Just as a standalone studio version of Jolene, this is a great effort all round. I really like the arrangement, the mixing that has gone into this as well. And another thing about this video, it raises a really interesting question about the music industry, because we've got Miley Cyrus here who's just singing with a band. Like I said, it's not auto-tuned. It might have been done in a studio, but she's still singing. She's still got the ability to hit notes and she can still express with her voice. She is a talented individual. And I would be surprised, actually, if she doesn't play guitar, given her background and her family always being surrounded by music. Let's not forget, Miley Cyrus has now been in the music industry for 12 years. She knows exactly how it works. She knows how to shift millions of albums. She's got the talent to do that as well. And she's fully into the social media side of things. She will get headlines just for her Instagram account. So she is working it from all angles. Like I said, she's really switched on. The thing nowadays is that back in 60s, 70s, I always say in other analysis videos that there were three things that you needed in order to be successful. And the first thing was writing great songs, or have somebody that can write you great songs. The second thing is to be great technically, whether that's singing or playing an instrument. Back in the day, ideally both of those you had to have just to get anywhere. And then the third thing was entertainment. You had to be able to put on a show. And nowadays, that entertainment has now turned into almost being shocking or getting as much publicity as possible. It's not something that you'd associate with putting on a really entertaining show like you would have in an arena. You'd maybe now have an entertaining show that is both entertaining and shocking, so that the parents of the kids that they're taking to these shows are starting to question, what is going on here? This isn't for an under 16 age group. You have to do a publicity stunt. You have to do something outrageous to get that spotlight on you. And this is a great example. Miley Cyrus with a great version of Jolene, hugely talented, but she is in the mainstream music industry, which means she's got to play the game, just like everybody else is playing the game. And she plays it better than anybody else on the publicity side of things because she knows how it works. And you could say that that is just her personality, but she has worked her personality in order to really excel in the current music industry, because it's a totally different place. Dolly Parton has said, by the way, that Miley Cyrus could be a little bit less into the whole shocking element in terms of how she went about getting publicity and how she does go about getting publicity. But then she's also said that she herself, Dolly Parton, did things a particular way when she was trying to make headway in the music industry. So she's in no real position to say that what Miley Cyrus is doing is the wrong way of doing it. And I would totally agree with that. Like I said, Miley Cyrus is part of a music industry that is as it is. I proved that it works by going on the X Factor and being stupid, jumping up on the desk, smashing up things. I got quite far in the competition doing nothing but being outrageous, just to prove the point that if you want to do something and get yourself on TV, it's not about musical talent or ability, it's about what you're willing to do. If you're going to do a publicity stunt and be outrageous, you will be shown above other people who are more talented. So, an interesting video to take a look at from a few different angles, but I never thought that I'd do a Miley Cyrus video, considering the first time I ever saw her was at an awards show and she was sticking her tongue out and just being really crazy. But it's amazing to go full circle and see such a great performance of Jolene, whether it be in the studio or not. And the fact that she's so talented, and maybe there's a case for saying there is such a thing as bad publicity, because I would have never seen this performance unless it had been requested on my channel, and the respect then goes up for Miley Cyrus as an artist and as a vocalist, just being able to cover this in such a great way. But thank you guys so much for suggesting this video for me to take a look at, and keep those suggestions coming in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Rock!